Uh, I'm sorry I am late because I'm not well, but in my whole academic career, I have never left any class. Please bear with me. This is my third introductory class, and I have seen your comments. Although I requested in my previous classes, but somehow I have not been able to communicate to you that please change your mindset. Please try to understand this is not your BA fourth year. You are already a graduate and this is higher education. Therefore, you cannot help yourself in case you continue with your school habits or college habits. You have to change your habit in case you wanted to gain out of any lecture provided by me or my colleagues. Now, what is the basic difference between MA course and BA course? Those who have been a student of sociology in your school and college, you are given prescribed reading. In MA, there is no prescribed reading. There are only two types of readings: essential readings and suggested readings. Now, some of you wanted to know how to begin reading the text. Now, the official answer is this, that you have to begin with the Division of Labor in Society by Emile Durkheim, because the first book conceptually, Rules of Sociological Method, is being taught by another teacher in Methodology of Social Sciences. Therefore, the first difference is that all the four courses are interlinked, interconnected. And secondly, all the three major thinkers, Emile Durkheim, Max Weber, and Karl Marx, they have written on the interconnected themes. Therefore, I will request, in case you are able to change your habit, you will enjoy all the lectures, including my lectures. What we do is this. In the first they want my camera to be off, and now the camera is off. I'm only audible but not visible. Now, in sociology, you cannot understand any concept, including the division of labor in society by Emile Durkheim, without contextualizing the text in the whole corpus of writings which Durkheim wrote. Now, some of you are saying I should be visible. Some of you are saying I should not be visible. Okay, I am a very democratic teacher, and my aim has been always to make you understand complex concepts, complex thinkers in the most simple language which all of you can understand. Therefore, today I am trying to answer to your anxieties, to your queries. Although I have answered it in my previous two lectures as well, but for the last time I am trying my best to make you understand what is this course and how, without taking any tension, you can master this course. First thing is this: do not take any anticipatory fears in your mind. Please do not have any anxiety at all. Write your academic diary, all of you. What is an academic diary? I am trying to teach you certain theory, certain methods, certain techniques of mastering three major sociological thinkers: Emile Durkheim, Max Weber, and Karl Marx, on the basis of my teaching experience of teaching this course over a long period of time, rather decades. Therefore, what you should do? You should make a note of what is being said in the class, including my class, and think about it positively. Please remove your negativity about end semester exam or the final grades. I, for example, give 6 questions at the end of my course, out of which all questions will be there, and out of the 6 you have to answer only 3. Therefore, all of you should ignore all anxiety regarding what will happen to me in terms of grade. Please concentrate on trying to understand these 3 so-called difficult thinkers in very simple language. Now, how to read any book? Now, instead of myself giving the suggestion, Emile Durkheim had given the suggestion. And what he said, please make a note. This is the first advice of Emile Durkheim to the students of his work or any work in sociology. And what is his suggestion? His suggestion is that the sum total of parts is not equal to the whole. I will repeat. The sum total of parts is not equal to the whole. What does it mean? It means 3 things. In case you want to understand a particular author, like Emile Durkheim himself, you have to read all his works, because he is long dead in 1917. More than 100 years ago he died. Exactly 103 years ago. Therefore, how to understand Emile Durkheim? By reading all his works. Now, reading all his works in one semester is impossible even for any teacher who is new to this field. Therefore, what to do? There are only two practical suggestions. Number one, even if the teacher is bad, but teaching for a long period of time, he or she will have enough expertise in the subject. Therefore, trust your teacher and make notes of his life experience with Emile Durkheim or Max Weber or Karl Barth. Therefore, what the teacher is supposed to do, whether it is online education or offline education, a teacher is not supposed to do supplying the summary of the book for you. You have to make your own summary. Now, how to do it within one semester? I will suggest that the teacher should give prior information to you what he is going to teach next week. And there are only 3 days classes: Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Therefore, in case I give you a topic which I have to teach tomorrow, tomorrow is a holiday. Therefore, I cannot teach, you cannot attend lectures, it is a national holiday. Even if I give you a hint what I am going to teach on Wednesday, that is 27th, within 1 or 2 days you cannot finish a book. Therefore, what to do? Although there are good commentaries on Emile Durkheim, and I have discussed some of the commentaries in my previous introductory classes. But every writer had his or her own theoretical, methodological, and technical bias. I'm not talking about ideological bias or personal bias. These are human weaknesses which should not be discussed in a formal course in a formal way. But every teacher had theoretical, methodological, and technical bias. For example, a person may be a great admirer of Emile Durkheim, but he or she may have a particular favorite text of Durkheim. For example, some people will say that The Suicide is the most important book of Emile Durkheim according to him or her. Some others will say that The Division of Labor in Society is the most important book of Emile Durkheim according to him or her. Some others may say about some other texts. Now, who is going to decide what is important and what is not important? It cannot be decided by the teacher. It cannot be decided by the students. It cannot be decided by a particular commentator. He may be Talcott Parsons. He may be Raymond Aron. He may be Anthony Giddens. He may be Amit Sharma. He may be Vivek Kumar. Or it may be a C. Therefore, what we all have to do is to learn from a person called T.S. Kuhn, The Structure of Scientific Revolution. How a particular discipline is taught and learned. There is always a community of scholars. There is always a sociological association in every country which deliberates through its gatherings what is the critical minimum which a teacher is supposed to teach and what is the critical minimum which a student is supposed to master. Therefore, everybody will have his or her own style. My style for the last 30 years has been constant. I am a student of classical sociology and my teaching style is also classical. Now, what does it mean? It means simply one thing, that in case I have to teach my kind, although there will be essential readings and suggested readings, but I try to give a very honest, to the best of my knowledge, impartial or neutral, comparative understanding of a particular author at the present time. That will include criticism of the author by the successive generations as well. Therefore, I will make two advice. All of you should read at least one book by Immanuel Kant, one book by Max Weber, and one book by Karl Marx from back to back. I expect that within this semester you will read at least 3 books from back to back. Now that will solve your one question in the end semester exam. You write your term paper or tutorial on that book which you have read from back to back. Then make some friends, academic friends with whom you are comfortable. Back to back means take any book. For example, Immanuel Kant, The Rules of Sociological Method. This is one back, this is another back. Read every page. Now, some people will say that we have 4 courses. I cannot read 3 books in your course back to back. Back to back means complete book from first page to last page. Then I will tell you, read at least one book. And for others, you rely on my class notes, my class lectures. My lectures are usually more than sufficient to answer all the questions which anybody will ask you about this course. This I am telling on the basis of my own experience over 3 decades. Now, to make you a little more sharper critical mind, you can make tutorial groups. How? There are around 90 students in the class. Out of 90, at least make 3 friends or 2 more friends. Academic friend, at least for my course. Therefore, you read one book by Karl Marx, your another friend will read one book by Max Weber, and your third friend will read one book by Immanuel Kant. Complete book, back to back, the whole book. Now, 3 of you should exchange your notes of reading the whole book. Now, how will you exchange? You make a diary, academic diary, when you are reading the book, The Rules of Sociological Method by Emile Durkheim. You write the diary in the same way in which you make a diary of my class lectures. I think I have made it simpler. Therefore, what you will have at the end in your academic diary, you have class notes plus your diary of reading a particular book. Complete book, whole book, back to back. Now, some of you may tell me, because you are new to this course, that some books are fat and some books are very thin. For example, there may be a book of 50 pages and there may be a book of 400 pages. Therefore, some of you will say, suppose I am reading 400-page book and another friend is reading 50-page book. How should we justifiably exchange our class notes or your academic diary? Emile Durkheim says you can do it only when there is a moral consensus between three of you. There is a sacred agreement between three of you that you will honestly share your experience of reading Capital of Karl Marx with two your other friends. And your friends will share, yes, one friend had said that it is very difficult to read online. Now, I cannot request any one of you that you should buy these books. And Xeroxing is illegal. Therefore, in case you cannot read the whole book, then you have to rely on my lectures. And my all lectures are usually recorded, including this one. And it will be available on the internet after 1 month. In other words, after around 30 days, I will upload the lectures on the YouTube. Now, some of you may ask, why not you upload now? Then none of you will attend the classes. It is human nature, my dear friend, that you want your convenience. Then you will think that, in case the teacher is recording the lecture and it will be uploaded in YouTube, then what is the point of attending the classes? My dear friends, then there will be no moral community which will be studying sociological thinkers. What is moral community? That 90 students, 1 teacher, 3 teaching assistants, syllabus, and JNU rules. All of them together. How many elements are there in the moral community called Sociological Thinkers course? 90 students, 1 element, 1 teacher, second element, 3 teaching assistants, third element, course outline or syllabus, fourth element, and JNU rules of teaching and evaluating the student, fifth element. There are 5 elements of this moral community, this moral universe, which is trying to learn, trying to master sociological thinkers, Emile Durkheim, Max Weber, and Karl Marx. Now, you will not watch the YouTube lecture with your classmates. You will not watch the YouTube lecture with me. You will not watch the YouTube lecture even with the course outline. You will not watch the YouTube lecture within the JNU rules. What I am trying to say is the following. Number 1, this course is not being taught or will not be taught in the English language. It will be taught in sociological language. And basic terms will remain more or less the same across the languages. Therefore, you will have no complaint because you will be following our friend C. Wright Mills, Sociological Imagination. The history of teaching sociology and your own biography as a student of sociology, MA first semester, should be in dialogue. The main advice of C. Wright Mills in the book, The Sociological Imagination, is that we should combine, we should synthesize the history with biography. What does it mean? The history of sociology as a discipline and your biography as a student of sociology. Both should make a serious, honest, intimate dialogue with each other, and then something new will come out. Have I made my point clear? In case now you will not ask the same question again and again, how to master this quest. The quest to mastering sociology is to be honest with yourself. As a student of sociology, you must know what are your strengths and weaknesses as a new student of sociology, MA first semester in JNU. And there cannot be any person in the class who has not got one strength in which he or she is unique. One of our great friend 200 years ago said, I'm talking about sociological friend because this is a sociological class. In some sense, all of us are like everybody else. In some other sense, all of us are like somebody else, some other people else. And in some sense, all of us are unique. Now, the third thing, the unique thing are called data or datum in sociology. Datum is singular, data is plural. Therefore, the singular things are datum or in plural data. And in case we compare and contrast, the data gives us a general statement about a particular object of study. And giving the example, you are reading a book, The Division of Labor in Society by Emile Durkheim. Therefore, when you are reading the book for the first time, you are alone in your reading room, either online or offline. Now, this is your unique experience of reading a particular book called The Division of Labor in Society. This unique experience is unique to you only until you are comparing your academic diary of reading this book with your friends. Once you exchange notes, your diary, then you will realize that some of your problems reading a particular book were not unique to you, rather it was a general problem of reading that book. But that general may not match with another tutorial group of another 3. Now, this is the process of generalization from particular to general, from one to many, and then the whole. Therefore, suppose you are reading a particular book by Emile Durkheim. You exchange your academic diary of reading Durkheim's book with those who are also reading another Durkheim book. Compare and contrast your academic diary, and then you will have a general understanding of your tutorial group about Emile Durkheim. In the same way, another tutorial group will read Karl Marx, 3 books of Karl Marx. It can be 5, 4. Number is not important, the process is important. And then you have 3 tutorial groups. Have patience, my dear friends. I am a teacher who answers all your anticipatory questions, but for that you will have to wait until the end of the class. In this way, you have 3 tutorial groups, one studying different books, essential readings of Durkheim, another person reading different books of Karl Marx, and he defends Friedrich Engels because both wrote as a team. And it is very difficult to say, except Capital Volume 1, which paragraph of Karl Marx was written by him and which paragraph was not written by him but was written on his behalf after his death by his loyal, obedient friend Friedrich Engels. In the same way, another tutorial group may study different books written by Max Weber or supposedly written by Max Weber. Now, what does it mean? I am talking about the third sentence, supposedly written by Max Weber. For example, there is a Russian social scientist settled in the United States of America who claims his name is rather I will show you the book. Stanislaw Andreevsky. Stanislav. Andreski, Andreski. The name of the book is Max Weber's Insights and Errors. There is another book edited by him, Max Weber on Capitalism, Bureaucracy and Religion. He had devoted his whole life in studying Max Weber. And he claims, for example, that Weber did not write any book which is popular in his name, The Protestant Ethic and the Spirit of Capitalism. Rather, these were his academic diary for writing his magnum opus, Economy and Society, which was published after his death. Why? Because Max Weber was not a sociologist. Max Weber was not an academic. What he was? He was a student of engineering. Then he was a student of law. And once he completed his engineering and law, then he entered politics of Germany as a statesman, as a politician. Therefore, he was a politician, career politician, and only at the end of his life, end of his political life, he started contemplating about sociology. In the same way, Karl Marx was also not a sociologist. He was a philosopher by training. He was influenced by Hegel's philosophy, but he had a critical mind. Therefore, he had a critical reading of Hegel's work, and then he made his own understanding of the philosophy of Hegel. Now, he disagreed with the substantive conclusions of Hegel, but he remained a great admirer of the Hegelian method of understanding reality and truth. And what was that? That was method of dialectics, technique of dialectical thinking, thesis, antithesis, and synthesis. Now, one friend had asked a very personal question, which I should not have taken a note of, that how there is fan running in the camera in the cold, because I am not in Delhi. In online education, it is not necessary that I should be within the JNU campus. You should not have asked this question, rather you should have written it in your academic diary. And then in the WhatsApp group, you should have asked this question. But since I am a democratic teacher, I do not mind. But this is not the way to learn sociology. You are not concentrating on what I am speaking, you are concentrating on the fan which is running in the cold weather of Delhi. Because you think that in case in North India there is cold, in every part of India there will be cold, then you are not understanding the geography and topography of India, the social structure of India. This is not a genuine way of understanding sociology, my dear friends. You do not ask your personal question in the class. For the first time, it is okay. Now, let us come to the division of labor in society by Imai Durkheim. Michelangelo. These are Renaissance thinkers of Florence, Italy. Leonardo da Vinci first, Michelangelo second, Raphael third, and Roger Bacon fourth. But in case you people start asking like this, I will not be able to cover the whole course. Now, when Emile Durkheim was writing The Division of Labor in Society, the book was published in 1893. Therefore, he must be writing before this. There were a large number of people who had already written about the division of labor in society before Durkheim was writing. And the first person who wrote about the division of labor in society was a philosopher who is wrongly understood as the father of political economy, Adam Smith. Adam Smith wrote 2-3 books on political economy, but primarily he was one of the finest Scottish philosophers of his time. And he was one of the founders of the Scottish Enlightenment with his friends like David Hume, who was also a philosopher, but he was primarily interested in philosophy of economy, philosophy of human nature, philosophy of natural religion. There was a third person, Adam Ferguson, who was a great historian. And then there was Miller. He was more interested in philosophy of language. Now, what made these Scottish philosophers great was their understanding of modernity. And they believed that modernity is not a unified project of 18th century European thinkers. Rather, modernity developed in Western Europe in different historical steps which are not in narrative continuity, rather there are ruptures. For example, for French philosophers like Voltaire, Rousseau, Montesquieu, modernity was by and large something which was promoting equality which was something which was promoting freedom, which was something which was promoting fraternity. This was primarily the view of the most influential philosopher of the French Revolution, Voltaire. Rousseau agreed to a large extent with these three premises of modernity. Modernity means equality, freedom, and fraternity in law. In other words, it will lead to democratic, liberal society and state. But their contemporary philosopher of France itself, Montesquieu, he said that modernity lies in separation of power of the state. Separation of power of the state can be called the division of labor in polity. Adam Smith was talking about division of labor in economy. Montesquieu was talking about division of labor in a state, in polity. And Emile Durkheim thought that division of labor is something which is most important in society. Therefore, we have three types of division of labor in sociology. One, division of labor within the state, that is Montesquieu. Second, division of labor in economy, that is Adam Smith. And third, division of labor in society, that is Emile Durkheim. Got it? Now, who was the inspiration for Durkheim when he was writing this book? First of all, this is not a book. This was his first book, which was published as it was in his PhD dissertation. This book he wrote when he was a student of sociology. Therefore, it is like your final term paper. You know, Durkheim wrote at the end of his studies as a student. He was PhD student, you are MA student. MA in India is higher education, PhD in France was a higher education then. Depending upon the differences in economic income and distribution of income in the two countries, in two different epochs. I will say, before we try to answer what inspired Emile Durkheim's book, The Division of Labor in Society, we must understand what was discussed before him when they were discussing the division of labor. For example, Montesquieu said that the division of labor in the state, that is between the executive head of the state, that may be a king or a president or the prime minister, and the legislature, the law-making body of the state, and the judiciary, the body which will review the legislation process as well as the execution of the acts passed by the Legislative Assembly. These separations, executive, legislative and judiciary, it was the fundamental division of labor which led to the emergence of a new society. Clear? In the same way, for Adam Smith, the division of labor in a British factory led to a different type of society which promoted efficiency in production and increase in the national income. Durkheim disagreed with both. Why he disagreed with both? Because he was also a student of Saint Simon or Saint Simon, and the person who influenced Karl Marx were not only Hegel but also Saint Simon. Marx said before Durkheim was writing the book that division of labor does not lead only to efficiency in production and the generation of income, but side by side it also leads to human alienation or alienation of the labor with the product which the labor produces. Therefore, before Emile Durkheim decided to write about the division of labor, there were different types of notions about this phenomena, the division of labor in society, as represented by Montesquieu, as represented by Marx, as represented by Adam Smith. Thank you.